Hi and welcome. Today we're gonna talk about something that you may hear a few times that's called trauma bonding. In some cases people call it stockholder syndrome. It sounds like a pretty intense terminology, and you don't feel like it's something that you ever have dealt with, because it just sounds like so drastic. Trauma bonding can be at a very, very serious level, a level that makes it very, very difficult for the person to recover from it. And then there can be smaller levels of it. That doesn't mean you still haven't gone through the trauma bonding. You just a little easier to recover from it, and it wasn't as intense. Let's just kind of get into, and what I have now is my computer in front of me for my notes. So if you see me looking down reading a few times, I apologize. It's not super professional because I really want to follow everything kind of in a little bit of a pattern here for you. Trauma bonding is very normal in any type of abuse. Very, very, very common in physical abuse, but that doesn't mean it does not happen in mental abuse. They're both the same. You just don't have a lot of visual scars. You got a lot of internal scars. So there's not a whole lot of difference. It happens to both. Let's just kind of give maybe a little bit of a book type definition for this, so you kind of know what we're talking about. This would be kind of a book definition of it. A strong emotional attachment between an abused person and his or her abuser, formed as a result of a cycle of violence. And another one is like, they put trauma bonds occur in a very toxic relationships and tend to be strengthened by the inconsistent positive reinforcement. That is a little technical there, but remember, inconsistent positive reinforcement. That's a kind of a really important statement that you may not understand what that means. But if you give a few examples, you'll really understand it. Kind of like they praise you when they want to praise you. They treat you right when they want to treat you right. Or, they're trying to pull you back in or keep you where you are, kind of thing. It's not just because I love you and this is what we do, and it's consistent. You pretty understand your mate, in a normal relationship, and believe me, anything in a narcissistic psychopath relationship, nothing is normal. That's pretty much true, so don't ever think, why isn't this normal? They're not. It's inconsistent positive enforcement, like almost like being nice to you in a bipolar way, okay? And at least you, and then it's an inconsistent thing of hoping something will get better. That's another thing of trauma bonding, like, oh, you're hoping it's going to get better, kind of thing. I'm going to start out with like a pretty drastic example if you're not understanding what that means. We're going to go into a few other examples. Go ahead and leave in the comments if you have other examples. It helps people understand because there's all kinds of different ways they trauma bond. This is the end result, okay? I'm going to give you the end result of what you go through. The way they trauma bond you, how they manipulate it to happen, is a host of different things. They can be from abuse to mental abuse, and it's these little things all the time. It's not like one thing. It's like these constant little things that they do to keep you where you are and somehow make you feel you cannot survive without them. It could be breaking you down, it could be degrading you, it could be coming and going, pulling you in and out, living in like a fear of jealousy or fear of losing them. and then, you know, the crumbs and things like that. All those little things create the trauma bonding. But this is probably the easy example that is pretty intense, but you kind of understand it better. I'm really bad with names. You out there might remember us, but remember those I think it was 2 girls, maybe 3 girls that came up missing. They're actually kidnapped by a kidnapper. It was for like years, I think. They were in his house, and he pretty much Peter Piper Pumpkin Eater put his wife and keeper there, you know, very well. They were tied, they were this, they were, you know, a prisoner to the home. I think one of them actually had his child. And if I'm not mistaken, the one, when they freed themselves, the one was really good of like, oh my God, I'm free, and thank you, you know. Maybe she did go through some trauma bonding, but there was a lot of back and forth abuse, the emotional roller coaster when they were with him. And then, but the one I think that had the baby with him, she was having a difficult time like prosecuting him. There was waves of like, well, I still kind of feel for him. He did this and he did this and he did this. I mean, there's this list over here. They did this and they did this and they did this. That's the logical side. But then all of a sudden on this side, they're like, they can't handle the feeling being away from them. There's an empathy there for them. There's this, and that's the trauma bonding. Like, someone will then say, well, how could that happen? Look what he did to her, and then chained him and had him in the basement and kidnapped him. Took, you know, part of their life away from him, you know, them and stuff. What happens is, kind of put it in this way. You're kidnapped. You don't know if you're going to live or die. There's tying up, blindfolding, you don't even know where you are. Then all of a sudden 2-3 days go by and you're hungry, you're dirty, you've got to go to the bathroom all the time, you know, you still don't know, you're in a dirty basement or in a dirty area, and you're scared. You're completely scared, and they will keep you in that kind of situation for a period of time. And then what they'll do is slowly maybe loosen a rope or slowly let you see where you are. Then all of a sudden they come to them and give them some food. And then you let them use the bathroom. But they're still trapped. They're still hostage. But they give them these little favors. And what happens during that time, there's such a fear. There's so terrible. You're so hungry and you didn't know if you're going to live or die, that when this abductor starts giving you little favors like crumbs or gives you food, they become like a child is a baby to a mother. They depend on that person to feed them. They depend on them to take care of them. It becomes their essence to live because they can't fend for themselves no more. They're not capable. They're tied up. They're locked into a place. There's no normalcy. And if you kind of picture that in such a drastic situation, and even brutal, there could have been violence, there could have been hitting them, and then all of a sudden they're starting to feed them, letting them to go to the bathroom. They still can't escape. They're still in there. But they look up to them now because they're taking care of them. They're not locked with handcuffs in the basement. So they kind of honor them. They see them like a newborn baby and the mother, that I depend on you to survive. They create that trauma bond. So when these girls were rescued, as you can see, the one had his child. They had the trauma bonding, even though she had this list of these horrible things that he did. Not just that took her away from her life for so many years. You know, obviously, probably rape. I mean, I don't know if she was willing. Who knows? Had his child in the house, not even medical attention. They shared a life. No matter good or bad, no matter how she was in a position that she adored him because he fed her. He gave her some freedom, bit by bit. So if that makes kind of sense to you, that's kind of a trauma bonding. Now kind of look that into mental abuse, okay? Kind of look that into mental abuse, where whatever your story is, whatever they did was those little things all the time that somewhere it made you feel, whether they made you feel unworthy, whether they cut you down, whether they made you feel less than, whether they loved you, then hated you, then loved you, then hated you. You got used to the emotional roller coaster. You're getting used to the lies, like you had no voice anymore, like never listened to you. Even if you had certain feelings, they didn't matter anymore. And then they love bomb you, and then take you out and love bomb you. That builds a trauma bonding, because when you leave them now, you have again this whole list of horrible things, and then this other side of the fantasy, the good times, the good situations, the things they did nice, and you somehow have empathy for them. And there's a lot of reasons. So we're going to go down the list here, and you have your own story. And maybe some of these things on the list are going to help you kind of realize, maybe I was in a trauma bonding. Is that what's happening? So a lot of you are going to be facing this after the discard, okay? This is after the discard. You're trying to escape it. They're trying to pull you back in. Whatever happens, this would be your sector. And a lot of times the trauma bonding makes you go back, maybe a second time or a third time, and then when they discard you, remember the discard's worse each time. It gets worse and worse because they're testing you. They're always testing you how high they can take it, that you're going to keep putting up with it. So if you do go back the second time, your eyes are a little more open. I do have to say that. Usually people back the second time, their eyes are a little more awake. They see a little more because they had that break away from them. They made that bold step. So sometimes the second time around is the one that does it. But they still go through the trauma bonding here and there. Because once you're away from the danger, you just remember the good things they did. You know, not the bad. Or you might be damaged of your self-esteem and everything that you were. I'm going to tell you right now, I got a lot of this in my blog, and I saw this through a lot of situations, is that many of these women or men that released themselves, they healed, they got away from the narc or psychopath, they will post their before, when I was with the narc, and their picture after healing, and their photo of them today. Do that. Do that. If you think you're in this kind of relationship right now, you still haven't left it, I want you to don't over make up yourself. Just take a normal picture of yourself, one or two. And then once you leave and heal and you start developing a new life, and take another photo, I will guarantee you, you're going to look 10 years younger. That's what they do to you. It's a mental breakdown. So it shows in your face of the breakdown of your esteem and who you are and your spirit. So that is a very common thing. You might think about doing that, and then you will look at that picture and say, look what this person did to me. I'd like this one better, you know. So here are the 5 lists of things. I'm just going to give you 5 of them that you may be in a trauma bonding situation. The number 1 is, you know they're deceptive and confine you, but you can't seem to let it go. There's a lot of situations you know they're doing this, you're totally aware of it, you've got the list, and you can't let them go. And there's a lot of reasons. You've all this, some really, really major one, and I did it too. At the end, I was being accused of things, and I knew it was going to happen to me. I couldn't let it go because I couldn't stand the fact of being accused of something. Like I was being a fighter. Like, you are not going to call me this. You're not going to accuse me I'm this kind of person. You're not going to, whatever, tell everybody I'm this and this and that. I'm not backing down. Nobody's going to get away with that. But that keeps you in the relationship. And always remember, a narc loves attention. Good or bad, they love attention. If you're yelling and screaming at them, you know what they're thinking in their head? And we've had this in a few other videos. They're thinking in their head, they still want me. Look at, they can't leave me. They're fighting over me. They're all always still, believe me, all of them still want them. They still want them. You probably, if you're in a relationship with one right now, you'll probably hear that come out of their voice hiddenly about exes somewhere, like, well, they still want me, or they wanted me, or whatever. But ignore that. And another thing is a form of trauma bonding, and this is a very common one. I wasn't so much like this, but another victim of his was a little more like that, where they can't get out of this relationship until they tell them off, and then totally let them have it, and let them, like, it's like you have unresolved situations. It's like, this is unresolved. This, to you it's not. I'm going to tell you, let it go. Let it go. Because it's never going to be resolved. You're going to walk back into their spell, walk back into who they are, put yourself in there, and you can scream your guts out. I just got done telling you, attention is attention to them. In their mind, they're saying, you're refusing to leave me. You aren't going to ever be happy without me. And they're thinking it's funny because it's a cheerleader to them. And they don't hear it. They hear the words, but they never, and you've probably been through this before in your relationship, where they did something that wasn't right, and you decided to pour your feelings out, and they look at you like this. Well, what was I supposed to do? They're like, you can give them scenarios. You can give the best way emotionally what you did, and they don't care, and what they did to you. They can't feel it. I don't even know if it's the right word of saying they don't care. They don't understand. It's hard for you to understand that because you have a healthy mind, you have emotions, you care for people, you nurture. They don't, unless it's play acting, unless it's for gain. And so, and you know, all of you have gone through it at least once or twice, that it's like talking to a brick wall. And it upsets you even more that there's no feedback emotionally. If they do, they may fake it because, oh, I might be losing this person, depending what you say. So you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to tell them how you feel, tell them who they are, it doesn't, you've been through this. Don't do it to yourself. If you want to make that one final speech, okay, I'm going to give that one to you. That one final speech, get it all down, okay? Think about it about a day or two. Add stuff if you want to add it. And you give that final speech and walk away. And make sure you let them know, I'm going to be fine without you. My life's going to be better. That's how you end it. And never turn back. Never text, never call, never answer. block that number, block that address, change around if you drive somewhere that goes past there. I don't care. Don't go to the areas that may be. Don't do, it's like they're dead. That's the way you get to play. That's a serious one, you guys. Because you are in trauma bonding if you want to walk back into that. And I understand it. We are pride people. We get angry that we were treated like that. And they don't deserve it. And that's what we want to do. But do the one speech, get it over, say everything you need to say, rehearse it, write it down, get it all down. You got one chance. They're not going to care. They're going to laugh at you. But do it for yourself. If you have to do it, just do it for yourself. Okay? And you're done. But don't think you're going to get a rise out of them. Don't think they're going to care. Don't expect that. It'll just get you more mad. Just don't expect it. Say, I'm here for my speech, and it's my exit review. All right? The other thing is that you do everything to please them. And you're loyal to even a fault. Even when they give you nothing in return. That could lead into some of the things we just talked about. It's like you do everything. You make excuses for them. You pick up their faults. And you get nothing in return for doing any of it. But you keep doing it. And this can be still in the relationship, okay? You're trauma bonding in the relationship when you know you should get out and you just haven't done it yet. You're kind of like, even before the discard, you're doing this. You're like, one day you see the light and your eyes are open, and then the next day your eyes are wide shut. And it's the fear of losing them. They've conditioned you in all kinds of manipulative ways, and it could be physical too. They can use physical pain also to keep you in your place. We mostly focus here on the mental abuse that you don't even know it was happening to you. The most amazing people don't even know. It's like that slow drip, drip that happened, and you didn't even know it happened. It's kind of like slowly getting into cold water in the pool. Splash, splash, do this, do that. It's rather than just making a jump and you go, oh! They do the slow drip, drip, like the splash, splash. And you slowly get used to it. That's how it's being done. And you have to really review, research, read articles, read other people's comments, read what they're going through, get involved in groups. And you may not saw it, okay? They hurt you from time to time. Yet you're always willing to take them back. You're always having this little empathy for them. You're bending over backwards. You make excuses for them. Oh, I did that in front of other people. And it was crazy. It was crazy. I knew somewhere it was wrong, though. I knew it was. Like, my other friends. Try to compare. If you have a couple of friends that have a really, really good, nice, healthy relationship, and just start thinking, would they do that to them? No, they wouldn't. And like, there's certain things they make demands that just shouldn't matter. They don't make any sense. And you may be realizing what you're into. You feel addicted to them and lose far more than you gain. It's a psychological addiction. They create the addiction. Some of it's drama. Sometimes you get addicted to the drama. Sometimes you get addicted to high and lows. It's like an adrenaline that a person is a workaholic and then all of a sudden they retire. They don't adjust really well. They addict you to the behavior. You get addicted to, they're always on your mind. You lose sleep. You lose energy. It totally occupies you. It's on your mind all the time. You try to focus. You can still work. You do, but then it keeps flicking in every once in a while. You're driven to the brink of self-destruction. Don't do that. We just discussed the fact that people take pictures. I get this very often, got it through our blog, and other people that I know that have been through trauma bonding, and we get a lot of people that, oh my God, look at me now. And they have a photo of the worst part of the relationship after being in the relationship for a while. I don't care how much makeup they put on, or the guys spruce themselves up. They've aged. They're depressed. It's bad, and they get through it. They started a new life, and they look 10 years younger. That's self-destruction. That's when you're in a very toxic relationship. You get like depressed, feel a worthlessness, helpless, trapped, empty unless there's them. Almost like an empty unless there's someone involved in your life. You could like really lost interest in a lot of things that you used to do that gave you pleasure. That's an addiction. That's back to the addiction one. That all the things you used to do and have fun with your friends or family, whatever, you don't even do them because it feels like you have to be on. It's like, I think it has to do with a lot of not trust. It's like if you're not with them, like you're going to lose them. Like you've got to be on the ball all the time when you're available. When you do, if you do, it's like if you have a girls' night out or a guys' night out, or you go some with a family member, you almost feel uncomfortable doing that. I don't know if it's a feeling because there's such an addiction traction, like a child that went to school for the first day. You know how they are, that clean, that separation anxiety. Think about sometimes, how do you really feel? Like you want to be really comfortable and go somewhere with your friends or your family or an event and they're not going to be part of it. Do you just feel uncomfortable they're not there? Like, or you should be doing, or like, what are they doing? Or that's a little bit of an addiction bond. Be careful of tearing yourself up and blaming yourself. They will make you feel everything's your fault. Don't destroy yourself. I'm going to caution you that. Talk to somebody. Get back close with the people that care about you and listen to them. You're not going to want to hear it. You know it's true, but it's just like an addiction to a drug. These narcs are addicted to this like a drug. And they have to make it, the drama and the excitement has to keep going up and up because they need more and more of that drug. That's why they end up with a lot of mates and affairs. They have to bring the bar up of the excitement of the chase. And the last one is a lot like we were just talking. You forget your worth. You forget your value. You're willing to lower your standards for this person time and time again. You're willing to look helpless. You're willing to not be so smart. You're willing to not outshine them, or you're actually conscious of, you can't even be yourself, because obviously the narc has probably told you, you're this, or I don't like when you do this, or you're acting this way, or I don't like your hair like this, I don't want it long, I don't want it short, I don't want it this color, I don't want, they're constantly picking at that you're not yourself anymore. You actually lower the bar of who you are, and you lower your standards to please them. They should be making you shine, because when you shine and you're your partner, that makes you look better, and your partner should be making you shine. You should be encouraging each other because you're doing it for both of you. Like, I'm so proud to have this person, they shine. That's not the way, it's a one-way street in this. So those are like the 5 dangerous signs that you're possibly in the trauma bonding. And you probably could relate to those. And you probably never thought of it, but you're probably thinking in your head like, yeah, this time, that time. And it's not a big red flag. They're little things all the time. Now, here's some, there's quite a few here. It's things that, some of these are very drastic. I mean, people that were in very serious trauma bonding, and these are even helpful. No trauma bonding is good, okay? So one of these, two of these, or all 10 of these could help you. And this is kind of a little bit of a therapy list of what you need to do, okay? You need to first make a commitment to live in reality. You've been out of reality for a long time and you don't even know it. Like what normalcy is. What normalcy is in a relationship. What normalcy is for yourself. Because it's all been reconstructed. You might find yourself fantasizing what could have been, what should have been. Like, did you live in the truth? Or, even if you don't choose to leave the relationship immediately, in the meantime, you can at least remind yourself that you will stop fantasizing about what's not happening. Stop fantasizing. It either is or it isn't. It's okay to make goals. It's okay to have dreams. But the love bombing was the fantasy. You're stuck in that. Because it did happen once. But it was only to control you. It was only to mind manipulate. So you got to get out of that part. Forget about the fantasy part. Forget about, I don't care if you had in your mind, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to, and then you had your dream set and it got crushed. It's done. It's here and now. The next is what we just said. Live in real time. Here and now. Nothing about coulda, woulda, shoulda. You're living at, take it day by day, here and now. Pay attention to your emotions. Stop holding, hoping, waiting. Oh, they may change and call me, and wait by the phone, but you know they're not good for you, and you left, but you're still over here waiting. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see if they're dating anybody. I want to see who they're seeing. You can't stand it. Let it go. Don't. You're keeping yourself attached. You're keeping yourself attached to a toxic relationship. Don't look at it as your partner. Don't look at it as your ex-lover. Look at it as a toxic relationship. It's poison. If the bottle of poison is sitting there, do you have no problem staying away from it? Yes, because you know what it'll do to you. They're poison. Stay away from it. Don't think about it. The only thing you can do is have sympathy for the next victim. He or she probably has 2 or 3 victims. Maybe someone you were going with them, they had victims that you didn't even know about. It's going to happen to them too. Don't think there's just going to be, unless they get stuck with another narc or something, whatever, 80 years old, and they know they better stay with this person, won't be, I don't know. But I'm going to say 95% of the time, there'll be another one, and another one, and another one. Just stay away from it. Don't get involved in it at all. We'll go into another video as if the new victim comes to you. And we'll have a little chat about that when a friend of mine, Sue, is going to be flying down here, coming in, and she is from the same, she's a victim from the same narc, and we'll kind of discuss that, because we ran into that, where they come to the ex for help, and whether you get involved or not. And the other is the same thing we just discussed. You live one day at a time. You make one decision at a time, one day at a time. It's just like, just one thing at a time for your new life. Don't be nothing or everything, okay? Don't be a nothing or everything person right now. I know you want to feel normal again. You want to be happy again. You want to be so quick. And I have so many people going through the breakup stage, and what they say and they ask is, how long does this take? It takes as long as it takes. But don't go backwards. Some are baby steps. Some get themselves involved in 100 million hobbies. It takes, and when it does, it's like this. Bam! Like it went away. Trust me, it will. Don't sit and think this is going to last forever. It's kind of like, remember you had the flu when you were a kid? You're like, oh my God, I'm never going to feel better again. I want to die. This is going to be like this. I don't remember ever feeling good. Remember those days? That's just like this. Your flu's over with when it's over with, and you're back to normal again. Some are fast, some take longer days. You will, and when it happens, it's amazing. It's like this bolt that's hit you, and it's like, poof, gone. Out of nowhere. Stay on track. Be happy with yourself, okay? So, it's like dieting. Don't crash diet. Don't say I can never have cake again. That's not a nothing or all thing. Little treats, little things, bit by bit. Don't go into despair. It will happen. Just keep moving forward. Only make decisions that support your self-care. That's another one. It's all about you right now. Your mental health, your feelings, everything. Only make choices that right at this point, that's not going to hurt you, that don't depress you, bring you down. Now that doesn't mean every day is going to be happy, happy day or things like that. No, that doesn't mean that. But just anything you think about, just don't beat yourself. That's a huge one. When we start realizing what happened, we're angry at ourselves. How did I let this happen? I'm a smart person. I know what part I played for being stupid. I can't believe I made excuses for him. Or her or whatever. I can't believe I did. And you can beat yourself. Let it go. They are professionals. They're narcs. They're mental abusers. They're probably going to have 40 or 50 victims in their lifetime. Bond with people that maybe have been through it. Get with groups online. Watch videos like this. Some of the most amazing people. Actually, they're all amazing people because they go for amazing people. Narcs go for the best. You got to have a fabulous quality for a narc to pick you because they just don't pick anybody. They want the best. So now all these fabulous people, very independent, very nurturing. It happened. We've all been through it. That doesn't mean you're stupid. Don't beat yourself. Be nice to yourself. Ride the wave. I want you to look at it that I went through this, that maybe someday, I'm experienced now, I can help somebody else. That's what I did. I had to look at it that, I don't want to say God or whatever, put me through this as a lesson for my life, that maybe someday I can help somebody else. And if you never went through it, you don't have empathy. You have sympathy but empathy. So always look at that you were chosen to make it through this. And your mission will probably be helping somebody else someday. And it will make you feel good that you can. Start feeling your emotions. Don't be afraid of those. It doesn't matter. Put them on paper. Say them out loud. It doesn't matter. If you're angry, say you're angry. I wish this, or I want this, or I did this, or I want... It's okay. Express your emotions. And a lot of narcissistic psychopath, depends on the relationship. All of them are different. They could have been suppressing your emotions all the time. You don't need to think that, or you're just only thinking about that, or you're stupid for thinking that, or oh, you're full of shit, or I don't care what it is. You may have lost a lot of your natural emotions. So express any emotion. Don't feel bad. You're free now. You can express it. Be kind to yourself on that. Learn to grieve. If you're upset, you're angry, and cry, do it. It's okay to grieve. I don't care if it's grieving the fact, how did I allow this to happen to me? How did I waste 10, 12, 15, 2 years, 3 years? I don't care what it is of my life. I missed out on things, whatever. Grieve, There's even still a love. There's emotional love. I mean, you cared for this person. There is still a love there. You had love. They didn't. And that's hard to swing, you know what I mean? That's hard to... it's just something slow, you know, it's something slow. So it's okay to grieve. Understand the hook, that you're losing your dream, you're losing your fantasy, you're losing the illusion that they used. The hook is like the crumbs they give you. You know what I mean? Could be a love bombing, or could have been the nice things they did, you know, to pull you back in. Like, ooh, they notice you're catching on, so here, I'll take you out to dinner, I'll do something, or say sweet words, or buy you something nice, or whatever, kind of thing, or get emotional with you. Excuse me. Have a little tears, maybe. Create big like plans or something, and then they go back into being controlling, and then they pull you in. Be aware of those. Be aware of understanding what the hook was. Reflect on them. See how they did it, what they did, the pattern, so that way you learn from it. Okay. Write down the list of bottom line behaviors of yourself. I had an issue with boundaries just because I was raised to be nice to everybody and understand, and sometimes people walked on me. I didn't stand up for myself very often. Excuse me. Still getting a little cold. I was kind of like that always. So, yeah, that can be bad because you have to make boundaries. And I was an easy target. So make your list of boundaries for your life from here on. Don't ever be mean to a new relationship or whatever. Sometimes we're overcautious and we never can meet anybody because we're scared all the time. I apologize, you guys. I've been getting off and on this cold, and sometimes when I do this, it kind of catches up with me. It was kind of rude. But make this list. I will allow this, but I won't allow that. I will be flexible on this, but I won't like this. You're going to have to make that list of boundaries and learn them again. Don't go overboard and be a really bad person, because we want to keep your good qualities too. Build your life up again. Make goals. Set dreams. Visions. I know a lot of times we say dreams cost money. Not really. Just to be free and walk in the park and not worry about anything, and the sun in your face. Those are all dreams. Hobbies, people, organizations. Oh, I've always wanted to do this, and they kept telling me I was stupid or I couldn't do it. Do it now, okay? And build up healthy connections. And that's what we discussed before. Connect with people who've been through it. Get back with your friends if people are close to you, knew you. Vent and move on. Family members, groups, all these connections. Even therapy, if you need a therapy, need a little extra help that I kind of specialize in. I always say keep checking the counselors or therapy that you're comfortable with. You may not hit the right one the first time. I always suggest asking the therapist if they've been through a narc or narcissistic psychopath. I have found, I'm not saying completely, that the ones that actually therapists and experienced it do really, really good work. That's up to you. So I'm sure a lot of you are able to relate to some of it. I know the video's a little long here. Trauma bonding sounds like, or stockholder syndrome is a really kind of scary word, and it's like, oh no, that didn't happen to me, there's no way. That's like hostage situation. No, I did. You just didn't know it. And that's just the terminology for it. So I want you to be able to relate to it, and those are a few things of noticing you're in one, and a few things that help you get out of it. It is not easy. Sitting here telling you is a whole heck of a lot easier than you're sitting there going, I can't, I never will, I'll never feel the same. You will. You will. It's going to happen. Trust me, I have not met a victim from that didn't recover. You know, you may go overboard of being too scared or whatever, but they did gain their life back, and it will happen. Some are within a couple weeks, and others could be quite a few months, but it will happen. I wish you have a nice day. a nice evening. Thank you for coming by. Hit the subscribe button. I think it's going to be on this side. Hit the subscribe button. That helps the video. You do have to log into YouTube to hit the subscribe. So make sure you register on YouTube and hit the like button if you like it. Please leave comments, give ideas for other people, and it was nice being with you tonight. Thank you.